Welcome to the 20 years of Boy with the Ball. We are so excited that you are joining us today, and we're so excited that you're all joining us that we're going to give a few minutes here at the beginning to let a lot of people join us. Now, a lot of you guys have RSVP'd. We do recognize that it's also Valentine's Day, so we know that some of you guys are out on dates, hanging out with family, celebrating friendships. But for those of you that will be joining us and for those of you watching later, we're very excited to have you. Tonight will be a very fun and honoring celebration of everything that has happened over the last 20 years, which many of you have such a huge part in. We wouldn't be, like all of us who are here today represent a larger story and many people who have gone before us. So we're very excited to celebrate this with all of you. I'm gonna say that as you're joining us, one of the times and sections of today will be sharing stories. So as you get on, go ahead and share a story with us. How long or when were you part of Boy with the Ball? What's your favorite memory or favorite story, something that happened with Boy with the Ball? And if you just put those in the comments, we'll read them out as we're all sharing as well. So, and I'll keep reminding us of doing that. So tonight, we are here with a lot of the team on a retreat. This is our annual retreat, and it so happens to coincide with our birthday and again, Valentine's Day. I'm gonna have a couple of our team members come in and introduce themselves as we're in this beginning time waiting for people to join us. So the first people I'm gonna have come up are some of the newest members of Boy with the Ball. One is already sleeping, Lucia, who's Pete and Christine's daughter, but here's our other newest member. And okay, stand back like right here. This is Jubilee, and you know Nina, and you know Rocky, who we'll get to see later. She is 2 months old and joining us this week. I don't know if you could see the shirt right there, but they had a screen printed shirt with a little boy with a ball logo that Rocky actually made. Yeah, right there, and it's very great. So if you would like one special ordered, we know the guy to talk to, so I'm sure we could work it out. And then I'm just gonna have some of our other team members pop in. So let's see, you guys know Jen Gomez. Yeah.
Hi guys.
And let's go on and have Joey.
Excited to see you all today.
OG Boy with the Ball. So for those all joining us too, so the name Boy with the Ball came from a moment when Joey and Jamie, when Joey was probably about 3 or 4, was carrying around a big red kickball for a couple of years. And it was like a security object. He didn't play with it, he just carried it around. And one day they had come back from playing basketball and the ball fell out of his arms, bounced over to Jamie, and Jamie bounced it back to him. And they began playing their first game at catch. But when Joey caught the ball, it was like a light bulb went off of like, oh, this ball that I've been carrying around can do so many things. And so it's Boy with the Ball, the name, is a metaphor coming alongside young people and saying, hey, this life in your hands, it can do all these things. And then equally for a neighborhood and a city, all the young people that are in the neighborhood and city, hey, what can we do with all these young people? So it's where the name Boy with the Ball comes from if you're just joining us, or if you don't know that. And for those of us that do, it's a great story to hear and be reminded of. We have some other team members that I'm gonna have come over, Pete, maybe, Christine. They just put their daughter down, Lucia, who I mentioned right at the beginning. Hey. Hi. And you'll get to see all of us at different points tonight. And let's go ahead. Molly's coming on up. So this is Joey's wife, and she's helping us man the computer back there. And then we have, come on over, Virginia Smith. So a student from UGA, about to graduate, going to Georgia State in the fall for school counseling. Very excited. And Rebecca Yoder, who's a Gwinnett County public school teacher here in Gwinnett, where we're based. And a big part of our team, she and Pete and Priscilla McLean run the Saturday Tutoring Center in one of the neighborhoods we're in. And you guys know Jamie and Kathy. So I'm gonna have them come pop in and say hello as well. They're coming. Woo! Oh. And they've been around, as you know, a very long time. And not like that. Just the vision and dream of Boy with the Ball was birthed a lot out of God speaking to them, and then the story of their own lives. Let's see, I think that is those who are with us tonight. We're missing a few. We have some team members in California, some team members in Beaufort, Georgia couldn't be with us, and then a lot of our global board members as well. So I will say again, for those just joining, we are going to be reading some stories tonight and telling some stories. So if you're joining us and you have a favorite memory of Boy with the Ball, a favorite story of Boy with the Ball, and then kind of what year you've been part of it, we'd love for you to put that in the comments. And then in about 20 minutes, we'll be reading those out. There are also, one thing I want to say and just honor is there's so many people that are a part of Boy with the Ball. You've participated in a lot of different ways, whether it's been in volunteering or giving or friendship or mentoring or your wisdom and leadership over the years for everything. And some of you were part of Boy with the Ball at the very beginning, like when it first started, when it was still a dream and a vision. And you've really watched how over the years, Boy with the Ball has grown, and God has led the teams and all the people have been involved the way it's going to be started in San Antonio, as many of you know, in 2001. And then in 2004, launched down into Latin America, in Costa Rica specifically, and then added in 2009-10 a team in Nicaragua, and then branched out into Africa 2013 and 14, and then added Boston in 2016. So a lot of you have been along for that journey, and then many of you have touched different pieces of that and parts of that. But tonight we're kind of celebrating all of that and just the different ways that everyone has participated and honoring all that have participated, honoring God in the midst of it too. Just this is a story really of what he's done and what he's done in many of our lives as well. And that would be the dream of Boy with the Ball. It's not just that we would impact young people, but it would also impact our own lives and launch us into the purposes that God has for us. So we're very excited. One last time, as you're joining us, go ahead, post your favorite moment, your favorite story, kind of at what point you were part of Boy with the Ball, and go ahead, post that in the comments. We'll be reading that in a few minutes, and we'll slide you in. So with that, I'm going to have Jen Gomez, who helps out with a lot of different things, but she's going to, come on in, Jen. She's going to share with us some of the impact over the years that's happened.
Yeah, so as Anna mentioned, I would like to just thank you on behalf of the global team and the global board for every way that you've contributed. You have come out with us into the field. We've seen the team grow from 1 team to 7 teams across the globe, and she and Anna had mentioned them. We've seen over 30,000 young people's lives impacted, and that happened through mentoring, through small groups, velocity camps, and then we've seen over 10,000 volunteers come out and join us. And this is your story. This is your celebration also for the last 20 years. You have been part of the team, you've been volunteering with us, and we are so grateful for everything that you've done. And then also for each of the donors. Some of you have given and some of you have been able to go. And none of it would have happened without you giving and being pouring into our work. And so we are so grateful, and we are so excited for what the Lord has done, but also what the Lord will do.
Thanks, Jen. That's great. Now I'm going to ask Pete and Christine to come, and they're going to lead us in the story time. So once again, get those stories going in the comments.
Hey guys, it's great to be with you. So like everyone has said, Anna, Jen, today is a big night. It's 20 years, and the 20 years really wouldn't be possible without each and every one of you on Facebook, our volunteers, our donors, current team members, past team members, young people in our programs. It's kind of, tonight is a celebration of all of it, all of you with us. And so what we're going to do this evening is kind of share stories and some highlights from the last 20 years. So Pete will lead us into that.
Yeah, so 20 years, and just think 20 years of all the different stories. We could go on for much longer than we have time for tonight, but we want to share a few from our perspective, and then we'd love to hear from any of you who are joining. So please make sure, if you're on the Facebook Live, go ahead and put a story in the chat, including the year you've got involved, and then your favorite memory or one of your favorite stories. It doesn't have to be long. Anything you've got, we would love to share together. So I'll kick us off. I first came around in 2003 to the Next conference in San Antonio. So it was a conference for 18 to 25-year-olds, sort of looking at the next generation and what discipleship would look like for us. And I met Jamie and Kathy that weekend, and I met Anna Curry and Patrick Curry and Melody, who later became Curry, James Williams, and a whole bunch of other people. So that was when I first got connected into these relationships that have been pretty significant long-term relationships in my life. I moved to Atlanta in 2013 to then be part of the team here. I would say one of my favorite stories, so I'm a teacher, I teach middle school, and one of my favorite stories is seeing how when a lot of the things that happen within Boy with the Ball are sparked with an idea or an encounter or a possibility or a chance moment that then the Lord does something with. So we had, last year, we had sort of started a reading camp that we'd done a version of in San Antonio, Texas. And it's called Read, Write to Lead. And we did a pilot version last year just for 1 week. And this year, we thought, let's try to expand that and do a 3-week program. So it's a sort of combination of fun activities, but really focused on reading and literacy for elementary age students. Now, you may not remember, but this is during the COVID pandemic last summer. And so a lot of things were shut down, including schools for 3 months. Most were just digital learning. So for a lot of families, particularly students for whom English was a challenge, this was a very difficult time in terms of their own development educationally. So we thought we need to go for it. Due to some lovely weather and a tremendous amount of support, we were able to have camp outside. We were able to, maintain our health and safety protocols, but then see students face to face, which made such an impact. We had over 70 volunteers help run the camp with students, with people from Atlanta, from Covenant Life Church, from Perimeter Church, volunteers that we connected with. Lots of families came to help, and we were serving over those 3 weeks 60 students who were coming consistently each day for the camp. It was really miraculous to see the way it all worked out. It sort of birthed from an idea, and then it was cool to see the way that it just grew and grew and grew.
Oh, with that, it's my turn. So I first got involved with Boy the Ball as an intern in 2008. And so over the last almost 13 years, there have been a lot of stories. One of my favorite moments, or one of my favorite memories, was actually during my internship when we started building the community center. You're like mixing concrete, you're like schlepping cinder block up and down muddy hills. But then my internship ended right in the middle of the building project. And so then almost a year and a half later, I was back in Costa Rica for some camps, and I got to walk to the community center that we'd started building. And it was like being there in the beginning and like knowing that we needed this community center, and then like seeing the plans of how it would be built, and then being a part of like mixing the concrete to see it built, and then coming and then seeing all of the families and all of the young people in the community center and being there for tutoring that day was really emotional. It was really cool. Like the culmination of a lot of stuff. And then coming back year after year for different trips, and like that community center was a big part of that community till the very end. Before then, everyone kind of made it out of the community and the center was no longer necessary. So that's one of my favorite memories. But with that, we're going to share some stories from you guys. So Pete already has one pulled up.
All right, so this is from John McCarter in Hattiesburg, who was a member of the initial Boy with the Ball team from 2001 to 2004. He says, one of the first memories I have with Boy with the Ball is when Jamie and I took a walk to the pier in the middle of Camp of Champions, and Jamie shared the vision with me for the first time. That was the beginning of a seed that grew in my heart that eventually caused Candace and I to move from Alabama, where we were pastoring a church and running a restaurant, to San Antonio in the beginning stages of the ministry. Candace and I were stretched spiritually in those 3 years. We have been blessed to walk alongside such huge people of faith, like the Hernandezes and Sarders and Miss Jody, to name a few. As some of our paths have gone different directions, Boy with the Ball continues to fulfill the vision and touch countless countries. I want to thank Jamie and Kathy for the wonderful friends they've been to Candace and I through the years, and for their relentless chase to see the vision come to pass.
And with that, Nina and Rocky are up.
Hi, I'm Nina, and this is Jubilee.
And I'm Rocky.
I first got involved with Boy with the Ball in 2007, helping translate for a group of dentists that came into the Precario in San Jose, Costa Rica. But my most fondest memory is probably in 2008 when we started a girls group and getting to spend time with the girls week after week, making friendship bracelets, talking about subjects that were helpful to their heart and their development, and then just getting to know them and getting to cherish who they are.
Well, my first time volunteering was in 2000, I believe, 17, and I helped film the Boy with the Ball Christmas Fiesta in Atlanta, and I got more involved in the next year. I have a lot of really fond memories of Boy with the Ball, but some of my favorites would have to be being able to be a part of a lot of this stuff going on. Like, I was able to be a part of like filming the Christmas Fiesta and like a few other pieces, and helping Molly and Christine and everyone like create the Boy with the Ball animation.
On to the next people.
Next, we'll be hearing from Sergio Gonzalez, our leader of the team in San Antonio.
So Sergio chimed in via Facebook chat, and he says 8 years ago, one of his favorite memories was 8 years ago walking through the University Center in San Antonio at University of Incarnate Word, where he met Anna Curry and Patrick Curry, and that's kind of where everything changed for him. Sergio got involved that year as a mentor for one of our mentoring programs, and today he's executive director. So you never know where volunteering might lead you.
Ooh. And with that, we'll invite Kathy and Jamie to come up and share their stories.
Hi there. Welcome to the party. We're so glad to be all together with you guys. So Kathy wanted to start this with a very short interpretive dance. Okay. I don't want to cut to the second part of what Kathy's favorite stories are with Boy with the Ball, but it's a pair of jeans I wear through walkthrough. She loves them. No, that's just kidding. So for us, for me, the way I got involved with Boy with the Ball was I was walking out of a Orlando Magic basketball game. And one of my dreams when I met Jesus was to be involved in professional sports, to be a professional writer. And I had one other, but those two had already been accomplished. And God just said, what are you doing here? And I said, well, I'm living the dream. And he said, do you want to watch other people bounce a ball and write about them? Or do you want to become the kind of person that people might write about one day? And I thought, well, that's easy choice. So as everybody was walking into the game, I walked out. As I walked out to the car, the Lord said, you need to dream bigger dreams. And then he said, and we were working with young people at that time. Kathy was homesick with my mom that night. And God said, what if you could build a team, like a league of superheroes, and they could impact the city's young people? And I probably heard it that way. I think he would have said, what if you could see a team like a league of superheroes ignite a whole city to fight for young people? But that was the beginning for me. What was the beginning for you?
Oh my gosh.
I guess it was meeting me and being drugged into it. So what's crazy is that when that story happened, I would turn and tell people one day we're going to work with young people around the world and all that kind of stuff. And people thought we were crazy because I was working at the mall and we had no money. And we looked as far from it as possible. We were really working on living in the same house and loving our neighbors. But then the favorite story that I have is, and I know Kathy's already shared with my jeans, but the favorite story I have is that one night, like 10 years later, we had moved to San Antonio, Texas with Chris and Donna Hyatt. And there was a group with Justin and Kate Carvackel and Beth Huff, then now Hernandez, and Missy Watts and Peter Watts. And they were all in our living room. It was like 40 Trinity University students in San Antonio. And they would come every Tuesday night, and it was very exciting. AJ Austin, there's so many people that were a part of that. Matt Sarter would come sometimes. But one night, somebody started kind of handing out a little poster of like a child who was missing, and it started to go around, and you realized how many young people in that house that night were really dedicated to reaching young people. And that the team that God had spoken of 10 years earlier, that then we felt in no condition to build, it had just showed up in our living room. And it was right after that that John and others came. But that was pretty great. We're so excited that you guys are here tonight. There's people like Brian Emmett and people like Joyce Rad and so many Owens, so many people that have been such a huge part of this and are such a huge part of this. So we're going to get it out of the way so you can hear some more stories.
I think I'm going to change my favorite story to Kathy's dance, but here we go. We have a story from Thomas Hernandez and Beth. There's a list of a couple of short ones. One, watching helplessly as James Williams wrestled with some guys in our living room, which resulted in a hole in the wall, which they did patch up and paint later on. The night Thomas had to ask Colleen, a teenager in the youth group, to stop playing footsie with him under the table. She says she thought it was just the table leg. Happens to all of us. The day Thomas asked Beth if he could help her grade papers, upon which Thomas discovered an error in her answer key. And to this day, will not let the fact that she struggles with her sevens multiplication tables go. Ooh, that hurts.
Me too.
Turning off the television during the halftime show of the Super Bowl to pray for Anna with a large group of young people and a few of their parents, fortuitously missing Paula Abdul's wardrobe malfunction. The day Thomas went with Beth to hang out with the skater kids from her class. They went to the youth pastor at a local church, and Thomas had to help Beth explain Boy with the Ball because she got nervous. Great stories from them.
And with that, Joey and Molly are up.
Gotta get my cue on the floor. Hi, I'm Molly Johnson.
And I'm Molly's best friend, Joey.
Also my husband. Pick your title. I have been involved since 2016 when I started as an intern at the Global Office in Atlanta, and I've been around ever since. One of my favorite stories that I was thinking about as I thought about my years of volleyball is that when it was my first year of being the program director of Velocity, which is our after-school mentoring program. And there were these two girls that were really struggling to make it to the meeting on time. And they're really struggling to make it to the meeting at all. And so we couldn't find them, and we were getting more and more worried. And I was actually frustrated. I didn't know why they were coming. And Anna and I went to the school one day, and Anna was like, we just need to go find them. We need to go see what's going on. And so we went, and the principal let us use their office, and the girls came in, and we were like, hey, we haven't seen you in 3 weeks. We were just wondering what was going on and why you couldn't make it to the meetings, and are you okay? And the girls, both of them, their eyes welled up with tears, and they were like, there's so much going on in my life that I don't know how to talk about. And there's so much that is hard that I just can't deal with it. And so I can't make it to the meeting because there's so many things going on for me in my own life. And I remember thinking that it was the first time that I could see my role in helping and being alongside young people. For me, my story with Boy with Ball was always that my life was changing so much by being a part of it and by being part of the work that we were doing. And it was the first time I sat across from a young person and I saw I could be alongside these girls in this fight with them. And it changed my life, and it changed the way I see working with young people.
Well, once again, I'm Joey. I have been involved with Boy the Ball passingly my whole life, growing up in the living rooms, growing up next to where all the interns were. But I would say the first time I remember being really grabbed by Boy the Ball was when I was in middle school, and the then director of Boy the Ball San Antonio was a guy named Patrick Curry, who Anna knows a little bit. And I just remember him picking me up every week on Friday to take me to get breakfast tacos, and he would pick me up, or Christine would pick me up after school and take me to some of the team meetings. And as a 14, 13-year-old, it meant so much. And then over and over, I kept, even as I was individuating and going through puberty, I would come back around, and largely then came around because they said that there was this intern that needed help getting to UGA and finding her footing. And so that intern was Molly, and 6 months later we were dating, and then a year later we were married. And so and then the big reason that we stuck around with Boy with the Ball is we realized that we were hurting on our own, but we were stronger around the Boy with the Ball team. We knew that we didn't want to have a relationship that was just based on just caring about each other in a silo, but we wanted to have a relationship that was meaningful and impactful to people like us, the people we were. I can think of countless stories. Part of me just thinks about Emeka telling stories at WebCon this year, and that's on YouTube. It's spliced up really nicely on the Boy with the Ball channel, and I recommend, if you haven't seen it, to go see it. It is incredible oration. I remember as a kid getting mariachi costumes to our house in Costa Rica, and then my dad and Josh Woodruff going to the Lincoln to leave private school kids slack-jawed in disbelief at these two gallivanting mariachis coming across their campus. There's great stories of, and this is probably the one that I really wanted to tell, was Western Union getting involved with the work we were doing in Costa Rica, and the fact that as we, in a neighborhood that no one was graduating from high school, where the average education was at third grade level, we started to see high school graduates due to the tutoring center, due to the involvement of Lincoln, and Western Union started to think, what if we built a scholarship for these graduates to then go to the university, where then they're asked to come back and be leaders in their own community. And then all of a sudden, in a world where there weren't any high school graduates, there were college graduates, and they were given entry-level jobs into Western Union. And I think at this point, there's over a dozen junior executives at Western Union that come from that original neighborhood, which is just one of those stories about how even people that people working their corporate jobs are so impactful within what we're doing. So I love that story, and I'm going to pass it off to Pete.
So we know if you're watching, you probably have a story too. Please go ahead and share it so that we can share it with everybody else.
Our next one is coming from the Facebook chat, and it is from Renee Muniz in San Antonio. She says it all started for her when Sergio invited her and her now fiance, Christopher, to an informational meeting where Jamie and Anna were speaking. She said, there's no denying God's presence in the room. They didn't want to leave. They're God's love through Boy the Ball. So thanks for sharing your story, and continue sharing them. Up next is Jen and Anna.
Hi again. I echo Pete. I think my new favorite moment was Kathy and her interpretive dance. It's been a long time coming. I got involved in 2002, which is, I'm gonna go ahead and say, one of my favorite moments, because how can it not be? It changed my life. But I met a lot of the Boy with the Ball team at that point at a summer camp, and was pretty taken by all of them. And I remember there was a part of my heart just that was like, oh, if I could ever be part of this. But just kind of where I was, I thought there's no way. But then watching how God took me, transformed my life, and then here I am still today. I have two other favorite moments. Sorry, I had to pick out of so many, but I'm gonna go ahead and do two more very quickly. One of them actually got a shout out a few times from people in the comments, but it has to do with the original Velocity class. So in 2011, Velocity is a peer mentoring program where we take high school students and mentor middle school students. 2011, we launched the program with the original kind of 30 high school students. And in 2014, we had already moved back to Atlanta. I mean, we had already moved to Atlanta, but we got to go back and watch all of the students graduate from high school. And it was a pretty incredible moment. They then, earlier that year, had come and helped us launch Velocity here in Atlanta. It's a beautiful story. And then one of my other favorite moments in the many, again, is the first year we did the Love Your City Boy with the Ball conference in 2015. And it was really neat because all of the leaders from the current teams got to come together and meet each other for the first time in person. And it was beautiful. A lot of donors, a lot of volunteers, a lot of you guys who've been part of Boy with the Ball for a long time were also with us. And it was a historic moment. Jen.
Hi guys, I came around in 2016. I was just out of college, and it was really my friendship with Nina that changed my life, and I've been here ever since. My favorite moment, there's been quite a few, but one of my favorite moments was last year when I broke my ankle, and that was not my favorite moment. But it was when I went back to the community and we were driving up Anna and I in the car, and all these people just started coming out of their apartments, like 15 or 20 people came out just to greet me and to say that I would hope that I felt better soon and that they miss me. And it was wonderful to see the way that relationship is so reciprocal and the way they cared for me. So that's my favorite part.
All right. Awesome. We also now have a story.
Sorry, Facebook reset.
These are technical difficulties when you have a baby. Cool. This is a story from Pastor Chris Hyatt in Atlanta. So many favorite memories for me. More recently, it was watching my friend Jorge from the Berkmar High School Velocity Group week after week as he mentored his 7th grade mentee at Berkmar Junior High. Watching the way Jorge would ask him great questions and then listen and encourage still inspires me today.
Up next are Virginia and Rebecca.
Hi, my name is Rebecca, and I got involved with Boy with a Ball in the summer of 2018. Previously, I had met Anna and started becoming friends with her, and she invited me to a summer camp at Sarah Court. And so I came and volunteered at the camp, and I stuck around. I actually have 2 favorite memories that I'm going to share. Since Anna shared 2 favorite memories, I'm going to go ahead and do it too.
Absolutely.
But my first one is my very first day going on walkthroughs and tutoring on a Saturday. I really had no idea what I was getting myself into and what I had signed up to participate in. And I had no idea what the tutoring center was, but I had heard that they helped out children with reading on Saturdays. And I'm a teacher, and I teach ESOL students. And so I was very interested in that. And so showed up, helped out at the tutoring center. I met Maria, who started the tutoring center at Sarah Court, and I was captivated. I was amazed that there were people who would take time off on a Saturday. They would take time away from their lives, and they would come and they would tutor these children. And as a teacher, that meant so much to me because I have the kids at school Monday through Friday. And so thinking that there were other people out there who would take care of the kids on Saturday was just amazing to me and meant the world to me. My other favorite memory comes from Read, Write to Lead that Pete talked a little bit about earlier. It's actually the last day of camp. We had the children present the books that they wrote. Throughout the 3-week camp, every single day they worked on a little piece of a book that they were going to write over the time that they were with us. And they presented their books. They were in a little circle, and each student got to stand up and they got to read their book. And for some, it was a little scary as schools had closed, and so they hadn't really gotten in the rhythm of being in a class or being in front of people speaking. And so for some, it was really uncomfortable, but they did such a great job, and they were so proud of the books that they wrote, and they were really excited to share them with others. And it was really cool to see them take ownership over what they had done over the 3 weeks at the Read, Write to Lead camp.
It was awesome. My name's Virginia. I got involved with Boy with the Ball in 2018 when I was a freshman at UGA. I was a hurting young person, and I met Joey and Molly. And I was so captivated by the way that they loved and were relational and sought the Lord that I wanted to know what they knew that I didn't know. And I started, as I was becoming friends with them, coming up to Atlanta and volunteering with Boy with the Ball. And ever since then, my life has really changed. As I think over the last couple of years, what my favorite moments of volunteering with Boy with the Ball have been, I think about last spring, right at the start of COVID. I was starting an internship with Boy with the Ball, and we were praying about how to end our velocity program really well. Typically at the end of a velocity program, we have a farewell ceremony where we have all the mentors say goodbye and thank you to their mentees, and it ends the relationships really sweetly at the end of the year. But if all the schools are online, how were we going to do that? So we were praying about it, and we came up with this idea of what if we created care packages, and we went to every single house of every mentor and we gave them the care package. And we filmed a video of them saying goodbye to their mentees. And we checked in on them and saw how they were doing. And then we also invited them to a huge Zoom party that we were going to have at the end of the year where we just got to celebrate them. And we got to go and visit every single mentor's house and film a video of them saying bye to their mentee and invite them to this Zoom party. And then after that, we went and visited all the mentees and said goodbye to them too and checked in on them and got to show them the video of their mentor saying goodbye to them. And then after all of that, we got to do the big Zoom party. And with the kids being on and off of Zoom so much, we weren't sure how it was going to work, but it was awesome and it was wonderful. And tons of kids showed up, and it was a really fun celebration of the year and a really cool way that the Lord showed up in that program to help us end something that we weren't exactly sure how it was going to end. And it was great seeing all of the kids too. So, yeah.
We're back. Okay, so I'm going to read you two stories from Facebook. One is coming from Tony Jones, and he says he remembers Jamie telling him the beginning vision of Boy the Ball when Jamie was visiting Omaha and in the Woodruff home lots of years ago. So that's like at the very beginning. And he also remembers becoming the next conference in Atlanta, which was very fun. The next one is from Brian Emmett in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Hello. And he says one of his favorite memories is helping out at the tutoring center when he was visiting Pete and Christine. I don't know who they are, but they sound pretty cool. So Pete, who's next?
So next we're going to switch. So we get to hear from two of our global board members. So this is Ed and Sue Liebenthal, who are coming to us from Michigan.
Yes. And you want to know how warm it is here, right? It's 14 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to say that right from the beginning that Sue wants to challenge Kathy to a dance-off. So I think I've got so many favorite memories. The things that I always feel.
What year did you start?
Oh, I started in 2007 down in Costa Rica. We came down to work with the dentist down there, and we were the dentist, and we started out in a little garage that was tucked inside this slum in the Precario. And what I remember was watching this small little thing start there, and then coming back about 2.5 years later, and the community center that Christine mentioned was built, and they were doing tutoring, and they were doing they had nurses coming in, and they had student volunteers coming in, and we ran another clinic there, but that place was being used constantly. And from something starting out of a little crummy little garage to become this thing that kept growing with lives changing and everything like that. And that's what every time we interact with Boy with a Ball, that's what I see. The fact that you're having a party tonight really reminds me of what being involved with Boy with a Ball is. It seems like every time we get together, it's like there's a party happening and you invite new people into it. And that's one of the things I enjoy about Boy with a Ball. When you go into the Precario, or if you go into Sarah Court, or if you go into a neighborhood in San Antonio, it's always a party about to break out, and you're inviting a lot of people into the party. I really enjoy that about Boy with a Ball.
That's good. And I'm Sue, and I got involved probably about 2009. And there's so many memories. So trying to pick out one, this is just a funny one. But that first time in 2009, we were in Costa Rica, James Williams was trying to teach Ed how to longboard, and he broke his arm trying to teach Ed how to longboard. James did, not Ed. James broke his arm. He goes, "Oh no, I'm fine. So that was pretty funny. And then some other ones, but there's just so many wonderful things as far as, like Anna was sharing about the conference in 2015, meeting all those people that we've heard so much about and actually meeting them face to face. I mean, and over the years, all the walkthroughs that we were involved in San Antonio and Atlanta, there's just so many. Oh, and the Super Bowl party at Rockies. We were the oldest people there by 30 years. Yeah. But we got to see a shoe collection.
Yes. Rocky's shoe collection.
Rockies, yes. But it's just Boy with a Ball has just been wonderful. I mean, just how they're always open to what the Lord is doing and what he's calling them to do, and willing to do it, whatever it is.
In meeting Esmeralda's mom.
Oh, and Esmeralda's mom, yes.
Yes. That's all for us. Thanks, you guys. Happy birthday, boy with a ball.
Happy birthday, boy with a ball.
All right. Well, I think several of us have stories of almost getting injured with James Williams, so that seems to check out. And we always talk about how every time Ed and Sue are here, it's like a big party. So great to have you with us at this big party, and great to have all of you with us. Christine read a story from someone named Brian Emmett, and I have a story from someone named Linda Torres. One of my favorite memories was the time that a group of the first Velocity graduating seniors from San Antonio were able to come to Atlanta as part of their senior trip. Meeting them was a joy and an honor. Another favorite memory is the global conference. I love it when all of the teams are able to come together in person for that conference, and I can't wait for the next one.
And I can't wait for who's next, which is Sam and Alana in Orange County, California.
Hey everybody, this is Sam and Alana Bretzman. We are in Orange County, California. It's a balmy 65 out right now. It's almost 5 p.m., so it's not bad. I'll keep this short, but quick backstory. I myself, as well as a number of other people, helped to start an organization in Nairobi, Kenya in 2009. I was in college. We didn't really know what we were doing. And a good friend named John Norton connected me with Jamie Johnson. And Jamie was gracious enough to take time every couple months to call and check in. And anyway, that relationship grew, which led to, I mean, as everyone's saying, there are so many significant memories, but I'm going to highlight in 2014, Jamie and Kathy Johnson and Anna Curry and myself and Alana all went to Kenya. It was the first time that Boy with a Ball leadership came to Kenya, at least as part of our iteration of it. And it was such a wonderful trip on so many levels. Like we love the Johnsons so much, and Anna, and it was that night, there were a couple of nights where we just got into deep conversations, and it was just wonderful. And there were ups and downs, but I honestly, Boy with a Ball, no, Vakisha, Boy with the Ball Kenya wouldn't exist if it were not for Boy with the Ball. And now to see where we are today, where the team in Kenya is today, like literally lives are changing, and it just makes me happy and smile. And I'm so thankful to be a part of this, and happy 20th birthday. I don't know if you want to share anything.
No, it was really great. I mean, I had only been in Kenya like 12 hours longer than Jimmy and Kathy and Anna when they showed up. So it was kind of fun that we experienced the merge together, and then also my first big international trip together with them. And it was really great. We had a really awkward night where we all thought that the other team was breaking up with the other one, which we thought that they didn't want anything to do with us, and they thought the same thing. So it was really funny. And the next day we all were like, what's going on? And so, but it was really great and really fun, and everybody's been so fun. We had a really great time coming out to the Johnsons for the first conference and just being with their family, and we're just so excited and so happy to be a part of this team.
Yeah, thank you all.
All of those stories, guys, and thank you, Sam and Alana. We're so glad to have you with us. Now, please join us together as we sing. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Boy with the Ball. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you for joining us. Mine didn't work.
Well, thank you guys so much for being with us tonight. This is a really exciting event. We will never have another 20 years together to all together as a community all across the world accomplish this. Think about this. A long time ago, it was a very goofy dream, but then it was very much a team. And then it was a team that went to another country. And then it was 3 countries and 4 countries, and now 5 countries and 7 cities. But more importantly than that, now it's a movement of people who are turning to love their city and turning to love their neighbors. And as we look ahead to, if God would allow us, the next 20 years, that's the thing that's gotten most exciting. We're so excited for these teams, and thank you so much for your support of them. But it's become more than those teams. It's become you. It's become all of us. It's Brian and Kathy Emmett tutoring 1 week here, but then going back to their city and finding a way to get involved. It's Chris Hyatt as a pastor engaging an entire congregation to learn to love their neighbors and live missionally. It's exciting things happening here right in the city where we live in Lawrenceville, where lives are changing and churches are mobilizing and high schools are opening. So we are so excited for a future that involves a movement of loving our cities, of loving our neighbors, and of really engaging the beautiful things of what it means to follow Jesus into the ordinary spaces and the ordinary places of our cities. And the thing that we would say is we live in a time that's pretty difficult. We live in a time that's very divided. We live in a time with a lot of bad news stories. So turn your TV off. Watch us on Facebook. No, don't. Facebook has its issues too. But hang out with the people right next door. Hang out with the young people that you can make a difference in. Join us. We're really excited for the conference that will take place at the very end of May. And we're looking forward to what comes next. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Here's Anna and everybody else. We're all going to say goodbye.